Okay, we're good. For anybody watching online, we've just come back on with sound, so apologies for the pause, and we can continue with the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Well, when the sound was off, I was sharing that has been a smooth start to the school year and that we would come back to that. And then I was moving into thanking the community at Park Campus because that community was extremely patient on Friday when there was, as you will remember, some pretty bad weather on Friday, and the power was out in the neighborhood around Park Campus and at Park, and we had to make a decision before school started as to what to do. We decided that the power was off, we needed to go for a late start, put that in motion, and then lo and behold, the power went on, and then we had to decide what to do about that. And on the one hand, it was early enough to be able to hold school. However, we had already let the bus company know that we were doing a late start, and we could not unspool that because basically the bus drivers didn't come into work, because why would you, right? So they were still at home, and so we could not move forward with a regular start. And so on we went with a late start, and the Park Campus community was just really incredibly understanding of how all that went. So I want to say thank you. Speaking of things weather-related, I'm going to hand this over to Scott, who's going to share the good news of where we are with air conditioning at GMS and a little bit about how we got to the good news of where we are now.
Good evening. So the VRF system, if you know what that is, the cooling system in the classroom wings of GMS, about 2 weeks before school started, one of the compressors had failed on the north wing of the building. Contractor was brought in, he had to order parts, and with all supply chain issues, it took a while for it to come in, to the point where the heat and humidity had set in for a few days, and I pulled my Rolodex out and found a company to provide some temporary cooling to be put into the classrooms. They delivered it on Tuesday morning, and it was up and running by the time the kids got into the classrooms, and it has been in place ever since. They today finished installing the new parts, and the system is up and running, and we'll be able to return those coolers. I think I'm going to hold on to them for the rest of the week, though, just to be on the safe side. The company that installed it will return on Friday as well to make sure that everything is up and running as designed. So,
thank you, Scott. And to go back to the start of school, rather than describe how school started for you, we're going to show you. Thank you so much to Leslie Armstrong for putting this video together. So, board just if that does not help us remember why we do this, I don't really know what would. So that's how our year started, and that is the end of the superintendent's report tonight.
Thank you, everybody. What an amazing thing. Addendum that was sent earlier today.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Braden? Aye. Nash?
Aye.
LaCroy?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
And Mack?
Aye. Okay, thank you. We have one action item this evening. I need a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Grays Lake Federation of Teachers regarding the teacher vacancy grant.
I'll move. I'll second.
Okay,
Miller? Aye. Mack?
aye.
Nash?
Aye.
Braden?
Aye.
And LaCroy?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion approved. We do have a technology summer projects update under our unfinished business section this evening.
Projects that my team worked on over the summer. Everything we do really revolves around empowering learners in the technology department. Some of the changes that we've made have really focused on equity, and one specific change, which I'm sure you already have heard a lot about, is revolves around cultivating community and really upping our communications game. So the values that this presentation and all of our projects this summer relate to really revolve around the respect for all, collaboration and decision making, and empowering our entire community and making sure they have shared experiences. And all of these things relate to these strategic plan goals. So the technology department, like Mr. Gonke shared with us at our last board meeting, the O&M department, we're really busy in the summer. So every summer we do a full inventory of all of our assets and make sure everything is collected and accounted for. We prepare student Chromebooks, and this year we moved, we did a lot of work around Chromebooks, really moving from that 3-year refresh cycle to the 4-year refresh cycle to get the most out of our devices. We support online registration and scheduling at the building level. We do a lot of state reporting, which is super fun, and lots of spreadsheets. We update all of our systems to make sure they are secure and where they need to be. And then there's some summer projects, which I'm gonna move on to. The biggest project this summer that my team worked on was updating the camera system here at Frederick. So that involved updating the server that stores all of the archive, the video footage that is recorded, updating the camera software, and also updating 70 new security cameras. And part of this project, which hasn't necessarily been part of other camera projects, was updating network switches that all those cameras get plugged into. So we have shared about this at board meetings leading up to this, and we're really excited about implementing Parent Square. Like we've shared with you, there has been some challenges with our current communication platform, but Parent Square really checked all the boxes for us. So this summer, it was really about integrating Parent Square with our Infinite Campus, our student information system, to make sure all the classes were set up and all the students and everyone's language preferences were included in there. We did some training for the leadership team, and we're gonna be communicating at the end of this month with the community about Parent Square and really implementing it fully. And then throughout the fall, we're going to be doing training with staff as well. Another focus this summer was really recycling and getting end-of-life equipment that can no longer receive updates off of our network. So things that can't receive updates are a major security concern, because when you don't patch and don't receive updates, it's more vulnerable to cybersecurity issues. So we spent a lot of time doing that, and as I've shared with you throughout last year, we use a company that really responsibly recycles that equipment, which we're pretty excited about, because e-waste is a challenge. And the last project that I'm going to talk about is my team's work with the teaching and learning department and supporting initiatives, including updating K-4 standards in our student information system to prepare for teachers to be able to start using the updated standards-based report card. And we've talked a lot about the 5/8 schedule, and that we did all the back-end work to make it happen in our student information system. That's it. Any questions?
Thanks for the update, Amy. And anytime I hear integration, like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. So just wanted to know, like, did we identify any risk or issues with the transition from Infinite Campus to Parent Square?
Any challenges or vulnerabilities like in sharing that data? So we have a data sharing agreement with any vendor that we share student information with, because that is part of our SOPA compliance. And so they are required to let us know if they have any vulnerabilities, who all their vendors are, their third-party vendors, to make sure that if there is a data breach, we are able to then communicate with families and students.
And it sounds like there's still some work to be transitioned over the fall. So for what's been integrated or transitioned to date, are we confident that everything has gone as expected?
Yep, so our implementation and integration with Infinite Campus has gone really well. The reason we are not running to Parent Square right now is really not to overwhelm our staff. So we've had some big changes that we talked about, changing to grading and reporting at the K-4 level, and changing to scheduling, which really changes the way people teach and learn. And so we were really focusing on those initiatives and pushing this back, because it's something that could wait a little.
Yeah, it makes sense to have a nice phased approach. So.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm interested in the scheduling piece of what you did. You mentioned a little bit at the end there that part of what you did around the schedule was in Infinite Campus. When you mentioned it earlier, I was going to mean to ask you, the technology department's involvement in scheduling. Like I think of scheduling as like an unsolvable Rubik's Cube. I don't know how you guys do it every year.
That's the technology department in general, I feel like.
But are you talking about, like, is there software that you use to help you do this, or is it like brain power you're lending to the cause?
Well, it doesn't do it by itself. So there's brain power that is involved with getting the software side ready. So Infinite Campus is our student information system, and it houses all of our student data, but it also tells us where kids are supposed to be when. It lets us take attendance, assess students' learning, all the grades. Everything happens really in Infinite Campus. But because we, really changed so much, everything kind of had to be built from the ground up at the 5/8 level. So it's all within Infinite Campus.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bolser.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow, we are quick tonight. All right, September 18th, we are starting with the policy committee meeting at 5 o'clock. And board, you should have just gotten access to all those policies to review. Great. There'll be a budget hearing, including a federal funding update, and preliminary discussion on the 2024 tax levy timeline. I believe we're talking about resolutions for III. Yeah, I think Jessica's bringing those to you.
I think
Yep.
so.
Okay. And then we'll have the policies that we discussed in the policy committee meeting. We'll be talking about those again at the board meeting. And then Dr. Wilk, you're bringing the EIS reports, correct? Okay, so that's for September 18th. Then a reminder, board, that in October, we only have one board meeting because we have the ISB Lake Division meeting on October 9th. Excuse me, so we adjusted our calendars, so there's the one on October 16th. At that meeting, we'll have the proposed 2024 tentative property tax levy presentation and possibly the audit and AFR approval. We are not sure yet because we're working with new auditors and we don't have a firm date yet as to when the audit will be ready, correct? Okay. And then the only other things I have to share with you regarding upcoming meetings at this time is that I have met with Mr. Smith and Mr. Malamed to work out the schedule for having 7th and 8th graders doing presentations and sitting at the board table again this year. We've selected 6 dates for that, starting with Park Campus on November 6th. So between November 6th and May 7th, each one of those schools will be here 3 times. So I could give you those dates, but all you really need to remember right now is November 7th is, 6th is the first one for Park. And that's what I have for upcoming meetings.
Can we add the sustainability resolution? We'll have that by the October meeting.
Okay, so do you want to, I think you were going to do that as a part of the, is it a policy? I thought you were going to talk about it in the policy committee, no?
So we'll do the policy at whatever the next policy meeting is
Okay.
after September, but this
Okay.
is the resolution.
This is the
just to give us
resolution.
some direction about the policy, and then
Got it.
also the Sustainability Advisory Committee.
I want to write it, I just want to write it right.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, yeah.
So, tell me again.
It will include a few different things, and I haven't written it yet, so I
Okay.
can't tell you what that is.
All right,
But it'll be some combination of the ideas that we heard at the working board meeting in the
Yes.
spring. And then another piece of that would be an advisory committee to start working on the policy.
okay. But the board isn't approving a committee, is it? I'm feeling, I need some support.
So,
Yes,
so the resolution, the way I'm thinking about it
Yeah.
is that it would be bringing it to everyone so we're all on the same page.
so you're all
of what-
looking at it, so
what
it's a
we're
review of
doing.
it. It's nothing, it's a discussion item, right?
Correct.
Okay,
And then just, are we on track? Is this what we're looking for? Is this the type of policy that we want? So,
and then kind of connected to that is discussion around the task force you're putting together, is that correct?
the advisory committee, yeah, what the goals of the advisory committee
Okay,
would
so
be, or task force.
Okay, so sustainability resolution and advisory,
Correct.
okay. All right, we'll see now we got to have a longer meeting because I didn't understand, so there you go. Okay, anything else? Okay,
Do we have any public comments that snuck in under my nose? Okay.
We do not.
Okay, we do have a closed session this evening, so let me read this here. We are going to be adjourning to a closed session. We do not anticipate coming out of the closed session with any new business, so we'll adjourn directly from there. The closed session this evening is Public Act 5, Illinois CS 120, paragraph 2, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, and Public Act 5 Illinois CS 120 paragraph 2C2, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. I need a motion to enter into closed session, please.
So moved.
I'll second it.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
and Braden.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Good night to everybody here, and we'll see you later in September.